One of my subscribers here on Patreon asked me to do this video. He wondered if it would be a good idea. Fucking A, it's a good idea, so let's talk about polygyny. Okay, some definitions. Polygamy is when either a man or a woman has multiple partners, multiple spouses. In the case of a man, it would be several wives. In the case of a woman, it would be several husbands. Okay? Now, polygamy is formal in that regard. Now, polygyny is when one man has multiple wives. Multiple wives or multiple mistresses, what have you. Multiple female relationships. Okay? I have a little experience in this. Okay? And the reasons, how can I put this? I mean, I don't want to get too personal insofar as my situation, but I'll tell you a little bit. See, more often than not, it's because of ego and sexual gratification. That's basically the reason that a man is going to have more than one woman in his life. Okay? Because if a man is fundamentally content with the woman, with his romantic partner, right? Content in the emotional, affective sense, and also content in the sexual sense, well, you know, guys are lazy. We're not going to go looking for more pussy if the pussy we got is good enough, right? Yeah. You know, if we're happy with what we got, we'll just stay with it. Oh, yeah. But if we want more, if our ego drives us and our sexual appetites drives us, oh boy, yeah, we're going to try to get more than one woman. And the thing is, see, in the current environment that we're living in, we can get more than one woman. Oh yeah, we can get a whole host of women. Yes. See, because we live in the deregulated sexual marketplace. Oh yeah, I talk about it all the time. See, anybody can have sex with anybody else, provided they're on the same side of the age of consent. Now, for an adult man, right? You want to have one sexual partner? No problem. You want to have two or more sexual partners? If you can juggle it, insofar as the women are concerned, whether they're going to put up with it or not, yeah, sure, you can do it. Yeah, socially, no problem. Nobody's going to say a peep if you have two or three or more sexual partners, right? Because that's what's going on in the deregulated sexual marketplace. If it feels good, then all the sex you want with as many women as you want, right? Getting the women you're involved with to accept the situation, well, that's a different story. It's been my experience that if you have two or more sexual partners at the same time, and the women are aware of it, they're going to get very upset about it. They're not going to be happy about it. But more likely than not, they're going to put up with it. And more likely than not, and here's the crazy bit, they are going to be turned on by it. And they're going to respect you as a man more because of it. Let me explain. See, suppose you have a woman, right? You're married or whatever, or you got a steady girlfriend, right? And she finds out that you got some side piece, right? I mean, I talked about having a side piece here on Patreon, right here on this video, right? So you got some side piece, right? And she finds out about it, right? What it will indicate to her is that you are desirable. You are a man with options. You are a man who can get more sexual partners. The very fact that you're getting more sexual partners will make you more valuable in her eyes. And therefore she will want you more. That is your first woman, right? She will want you more, and she will be upset by it, perhaps very hurt by it. But she will value you more because the fact that you can get a second or third girl means that you have sexual marketplace value, and so your primary woman is not going to want to ditch you. Oh no, she'll want to hold on to you. The only women who will not react this way are women who have an overinflated sense of self. These are usually professional women, career women. They have an overinflated ego, and so they will be outraged by the fact that you cheated on them, even though they perhaps might have cheated on you, or would entertain the idea and would not think that it's that big of a deal. Yeah, they're going to be hypocritical in that regard, but be that as it may, we too are hypocritical in the sense that we find it no problem to cheat on a woman, but if a woman cheats on us, as I've said before, you should just ditch her, right? So be that as may. Professional women, career women, women with who are making a lot of money and doing very well in their careers, they're the only ones who will not accept this situation. But it has nothing to do with being financially independent of her man. It might seem so, but it's not that. What's going on is that, see, it's her sense of ego. She will have confused her success in the business world with success in the sexual marketplace. And she will think that because she is successful in her career, her business, what have you, then she can afford to ditch you and find a man as good as you, or if not better than you. And of course, reality is going to smack her upside the head, because this is not the case. But this exception only happens with career women, women who have success in the business world, okay? Other women, normal women, but they are not going to be under these illusions. And like I said before, they are going to feel that you are more sexually valuable because of the fact that you have more women. Now, I said before that there are two reasons why a guy would go for multiple sexual partners. It's ego and because of their sex drive. And this is what I've noticed. I've noticed that there are some guys who were just not very successful with women when they were young. And so when they get older and they become more successful because they have grown into the man that they are, right? And that man is sexually attractive. Well, they feel that they have to take all the opportunities that they can. They need it for ego gratification, to smooth over and salve the wounds of their youth. Because these are guys who usually, you know, when they were teenagers or what have you, were rejected rather grotesquely, rather violently by members of the opposite sex. And so now that they're older, now that they're sexually attractive to women, they want as many women as possible to heal that wound. You see what I mean? So that's the ego gratification part of it. The sexual drive part of it is that sometimes, you know, a man's primary partner, his wife or longtime girlfriend or whatever, is just not interested in sex as much as the guy is. She just doesn't want to put out, you know, every day of the week. She just wants to have sex, you know, 2-3 times a week or less, right? And a guy who has a strong sex drive is just not going to find that very tolerable, okay? And it's just, you know, a sexual release, yeah? And in that kind of situation, you know, it's not an emotional thing. And a woman with a low sex drive will recognize this, okay? And here comes the weird shit, right? A woman who, you know, has a low sex drive, you know, just wants to have sex, you know, maybe once a week, maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 or 3 months, right? She will, how could I put it, put up with a guy, her guy, who's fucking around on her. She'll just put up with it because in her bones she'll recognize what's going on. And she might feel very guilty about it. She might feel very bad about it. But, you know, she's going to put up with it. Because she knows that if she demands her man not fuck around on her anymore, he'll just say, honey, no, then forget it, we're done. Because see, a lot of guys, especially guys who are not that sexually successful, do not understand a core fact. Women are terrified of losing their relationships. Once they've invested some time in a man, okay? I mean, 6 months, a year, what have you, any period over that, right? Once they've invested a substantial amount of time, be their children or not, she is going to be extremely reluctant to end the relationship. Yeah. And a man fucking around on her, you know, having other sexual partners, for most women is not going to be enough reason to end the relationship, especially if she realizes that because of her low sex drive, she is not delivering on a certain essential aspect of the relationship. See, just like guys don't feel that sex is an emotional thing and they can fuck as many girls as they want and not fall in love with some girl, right? Women also recognize that who the guy is fucking is not as important as who he is taking to the movies that weekend. You see what I mean? Yeah, it's true. We all know this. I mean, both men and women. See? A woman I fuck, I'll forget about her in a week, right? But a woman that I take out to a nice dinner at some nice restaurant, or maybe take on a nice trip somewhere, she matters to me, right? The effort I put into that is much more important than me banging her, right? And she knows it, I know it, every man and woman in the world knows it, okay? And so women will, more often than not, and what I'm trying to say so far in this video, they're gonna put up with it. Oh yeah. Now the thing is though, that practical polygyny, which is what we're talking about, right? De facto polygyny, where you have, you know, a guy with perhaps a primary relationship and 2 or 3 or 4 other girlfriends, which happens all the time, right? Well, this is the problem, and it is a problem of our society today. It should not be happening, but it is happening, okay? It's happening because we are living in this sexual market free-for-all, a deregulated sexual marketplace. So because of this, what does this mean? It means that anybody can fuck anybody else. And so 80% of the women, or well, 100% of the women, if you think about it, they are only interested in the top 20% of the men. And the top 80% of the women wind up banging the top 20% of the men. And the bottom 80% of the men, they're shit out of luck. They don't get the women, right? And so if you're at that top 20%, you can fuck as much as you want, as many women as you want, and as many permutations as you want. But if you're lower on the totem pole, on the sexual marketplace value, right? What's going to happen is that you're going to feel very afraid. You're going to feel very insecure, because you're going to think to yourself that the woman you have, you're never going to risk the relationship because you're never going to find anybody else, right? Or the likelihood is very low. Whereas a guy who's in the top 20%, shit, in the top 5%, say, you know, that guy is going to have no problem fucking as many girls as he wants, because if any girl doesn't like it and says that she's not going to put up with his attitude or his behavior, he'll just say, fine, I'll just go find somebody else. And he will. And the woman knows it. And because of that reality, insofar as the top 20% goes, they can practically have as many women as they want, and the women in their life are not going to say fucking shit. And this is terrible for both men and women. Yeah, because you know, the men, they get all the pussy that they want, right? The top men, but the vast majority of men, they get nothing. They get absolutely nothing, right? And they start to realize that they're never going to get anything, or at least they're never going to get the women that they really want, and it makes them bitter. Yeah. All of this these are effects of the sexual market deregulation, which is a catastrophe for a society, for any kind of civilized society, right? It's great for guys who are sexually attractive. Yeah, it's great for them. But it's horrible for the vast majority of men, and it's horrible for women, because they wind up being passed around by the top 20% of men and never getting a ring from any of them. Whereas the bottom 80% who are happy to give them a ring, well, these girls, they are socialized into thinking that those guys, the nice guys, are just not worth it, that they shouldn't, you know, settle for such a low status guy. They should only go for the top guys. And the top guys are using them like fucking underwear. You see what I'm saying? Now, do I think that polygyny is moral? Well, no, not really. I mean, just no. It's not fair, it's not just, it's not right. No. But as a practicality, it's going on all the time. Okay? It's going on all the time, and it causes a lot of resentment and a lot of social unrest. But it's going on because we decided that, you know, as a society, we decided that we're going to allow everybody to fuck everybody else, and no holes barred, no restraints, no enforced monogamy. Look that term up. It's an anthropological term. I'm not just saying it out of, you know, just pulling it out of my ass, right? But the point, see, we are living at in the slipstream of the sexual market deregulation. And if you're a guy who is sufficiently attractive, you can have 2 girls, 3 girls, 4 girls, all fucking them all, potentially having long-lasting relationships with them, and they will put up with it. Oh yeah, they will. It's an ugly reality, but it's the truth. And, but here's a secret, see? If you're in the bottom lower 80, okay, and you manage to snag 2 girls at the same time, right? The weird thing is that it will increase your sexual marketplace value. Yeah, let me explain. See, what happens with most guys who are not sexual successes, right? And I used to be such a man. Now, what happens is that they become so tense and so worried that this girl that they got is the only girl they'll ever get, right? That they make no effort to get more than one. And because they make no effort to get more than one, all their attention is focused on just this one girl. Whoever she may be, his wife or girlfriend or whatever, steady, right? But if he gets a second girl, then his attention is sort of like divided, and he's not so stressed out over either one. Obviously, because he's thinking to himself, well, I got these 2 girls that I'm sort of dating at the same time, right? And, if one ditches me, well, I still have the other, right? So I'm good. And because his tension is reduced, the relationship, his stress over both relationships diminishes. And the girls feel it. They feel that he's not so anxious, not so into them. And because every human relationship between a man and a woman is basically like a push-pull kind of thing, right? What happens is that, see, as your interest diminishes in both of these girls because your attention is divided, they will both become more aggressive towards you and want to hold on to you tighter, okay? And you will feel that, and it will give you self-confidence in both relationships. And that's why, very easily, you can add on a 3rd, and then a 4th, and then a 5th girl. Easily. And your sexual marketplace value will simply rise as you add girls to your de facto harem. Yeah, crazy as this may sound, yeah, the very fact that you are involved in parallel relationships like this will make you more attractive and bring you more sexual success. It's a virtuous circle. To tell you the truth, this is more or less what happened to me. Yeah. When I was 19, you see, up until the age of 19, I was lousy with girls, just really shitty, right? I just couldn't get laid to save my life. I had gotten laid twice by the time I was 19. Once at 13 and once at 16, and both of the times were flukes. I mean, real, lucky flukes. I mean, just like, holy shit, this happened to me flukes, right? At 19, I was just lousy with girls. I never had any steady girlfriend, but I discovered that if I were funny, the funnier I got, the more girls liked me, right? And funny, not like a comedian, but sort of like self-deprecating and humorous and that kind of thing, right? They liked me more. And as I noticed them liking me more, it gave me self-confidence. And as I gained self-confidence, all of a sudden I found myself not with just one girl interested in me. I found myself with 3, 4, 5 girls interested in me at different scales of interest, right? But they were interested in me. And I started dating them, and all of a sudden, I'm running like 2, 3 girls at the same time, de facto polygyny, right? And fucking them simultaneously, right? And all of a sudden, I'm like, holy shit, I'm like a Don Juan, right? And my friends, they were all amazed, right? They were like, how the fuck is this happening? You with glasses and a lazy eye and not very good looking and all this shit, and you're getting 3 girls, and they heard about each other, these girls. And it just incentivized them more, right? Yeah, that's how it works. That's how it works. It's simple as that. Shit, I'm losing the point of this video. I'm talking about polygyny and stuff like that, but okay, do I think it's bad? Yes, I think it's bad. Okay, you shouldn't do it. Do I think it can be done? Fucking A, it can be done. Frankly, I've had parallel relationships most of my life, okay? Most of my adult life, since I was 19, like I explained, right? There has rarely been a time in my life that I have not had at least 2 girls at the same time. Yeah, it's just the way it is, I just got to get laid. It's simple as that. I got to get laid every day, And sometimes just one woman is not enough. Most times one woman is just not enough. And I don't know what that makes me, if it makes me a bastard or not. Well, it does. It does. Because, see, I recognize that, see, every extra girl that I'm fucking implies one guy who's not getting any. See? And that's a fact. You know, it's yeah, but I don't know that guy. And I know me, and I want to have sex. I want to fool around, and I love girls. I think that they're terrific, you know? I love their company. I love girls more than I like guys. A guy's company, guys are boring because I know what they're going to think, you know, 3 steps before they say anything to me, right? Whereas girls, man, Jesus Christ, I don't know what the fuck they're going to say second to second, right? They're exciting and interesting to me, and that's why I prefer their company. And I also like fucking them, and so I do, because I can. And this is the problem. Because at this time in our society, there are no constraints to your sexual proclivities. You're gay, you're a fetishist, God knows what kind of fetish you're into, you're this, that, the other. Whatever it is you are into, sexually speaking, so long as it's not pedophilia, you can do it, right? And nobody feels that they have the moral authority to say that this is a bad thing when it objectively is a bad thing, okay? And polygyny is certainly objectively a bad thing, but there are no sexual constraints. And so guys like me, bastards like me, I mean real sons of bitches, because come on, let's face it, right? Well, bastards like me fuck around. And if you choose to be such a bastard, nobody's going to stop you. And the thing is, see, if you choose to act this way and have multiple relationships in parallel with different women, the more you do it, the more sexual success you will have. Yeah, because it's a virtuous cycle. It's a self-reinforcing cycle. And you will become more and more successful and have more and more women. And, you know, it's, yeah, that's basically it. And if you are sexually unsuccessful and you're watching this, well, then listen to what I have to tell you, see? If you are sexually unsuccessful, if you got 0 girls, 0 women in your life, what you have to do is not pursue one girl. No, you do not pursue one girl. You pursue 5 girls, okay? You pursue them and you try to bang them, everyone. And you make your best efforts with each one of them. And as you do that, what will happen is that, see, your anxiety will decrease because you have 5 opportunities. And because of that, you won't be so anxious with each one of them. And so you won't be so tentative. You'll be more self-confident, more direct as to what you want, and therefore achieve success with women, right? So you go after 5 girls, and potentially you can wind up banging all of them. Yeah. And because of that, you will no longer be sexually unsuccessful. And the fact that you get to be successful with these 1, 2, 3 girls of these 5, perhaps all 5 of them, right? It will inevitably bring you more success because other girls will fundamentally sense that you're sexually successful and they will want to be with you for the mere fact that you are sexually successful. Believe it. You know, you don't believe me, you think that I'm full of shit, fine. But I'm telling you this, I know this shit, like I say all the time. I know this shit not because I'm smarter than you, but because I've been around longer.